I find it awesome how God has brought you all these connections and different things, and is using what you've studied and learned, again, even as not only an explorer, but as your studies into ufology, and being a voice, which I think is awesome. Talk a little bit about that, because you gave a briefing on it. I'm not asking you to repeat the whole briefing for sure, but what you've been seeing lately, we've been talking about it here. As Christians, we have to talk about it. We have to have a biblical answer as far as we can, as it relates to what the government's doing now. Talk a little bit, if you will, about, again, your involvement and how you've kind of been brought in, and also your thoughts on the recent explanations that are happening in the Congress.
Some months ago in the summer, I was contacted by a particular member of Congress who happened to be a member of the UAP committee. Right after they conducted that hearing with David Grush and David Fravor and the other gentleman whose name always escapes me. He's one of the members that was asking questions, and he called me, and he had become aware of my work and my perspectives, and he wanted to have a conversation with me. So we initiated a correspondence, and this individual has given me permission to use his name and so forth. But I still, just for his sake, I like to keep that private. But I was able to discuss certain aspects of ufology with a few members of Congress who are on the UAP, now the UAP caucus, but who are on the UAP committee, and I was able to give a little briefing presentation. And I can tell you what I discussed with them. I discussed alien abduction, and I brought Richard Dolan on board with me to do this with me. And so I've been interfacing with some of these congressional members who are interested in the UAP topic. And let me say that the core group of guys and gals in Congress who are really putting pressure on the government to disclose what it knows concerning the UFO topic, UAP, the new nomenclature, which I hate, but regardless, these individuals, core group of people, are really good congressmen. And I would say that I'm aware of probably 5 to 8, maybe 5 to 10 of them who are most interested in the topic and very, very serious about continuing the investigations. And what I find to be very encouraging is that these individuals, again, the core group, are Christians. They're believers. In fact, one of the members, the member who called me, when we did our discussion, our briefing, it was online, it was through Zoom. He had just come from a prayer meeting that they have there in Congress, and he and another individual. So this is a very, as I said, serious group of people. That's not for show. Now, I will say that on that committee, the UAP committee, you had a lot of congressmen on both sides of the aisle who were there for the TV time. They could care less about the UFO topic. They're just there to get their faces on TV. And so you do have that, but the core group, these individuals are very good congressmen, as I said. There's a handful of them. There's a couple of Democrats. There's a handful of people that make up this core group, and again, the majority of whom are actually happen to be Christians, and are most interested in the tangible. In obtaining tangible proof of a crash retrieval program, crash retrieval and reverse engineering program, and some of the members are approaching it from a more skeptical point of view, and other members are more informed in ufology and have already basically accepted the reality that such a program exists. So it's a mix of opinions, but I'm very encouraged by what I've discovered in the enthusiasm and the what's the word I'm looking for here, and the tenacity at which these individuals these congressmen are attempting to get the truth from the Pentagon, are pressing the Pentagon for information on what it knows in regard to the UAP topic. So that's encouraging, and I want people to know that's happening. It is not, the AARO, the All Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, the Pentagon's official UFO or UAP investigative body, is a dog and pony show. Mm-hmm. It is and always has been. As soon as I saw the formulation of AARO, I knew what it was. It was just another Project Blue Book, Project Grunge. It's just another feigned investigation by the government where the individuals who are involved in the investigation are sincere, but they're never going to be given access to the real stuff. And so that was to be expected. And AARO's briefing I got some inside information on the briefing that AARO had with the congressman, and that's pretty much what played out. Exactly what I thought would play out is, just debunking sightings that are easily debunked, and the result of misconception by the public, and then informing the congressman on a bunch of classified projects that might be confused with UFO reverse engineering projects. So the AARO is the objective, and this isn't. I'm not saying this is the objective of the individuals at AARO. I think a lot of them are sincere investigators, and they really would like to get some truth on the matter. But I can tell you that the objective of the Pentagon, at the brass who are read into the programs at the Pentagon, the crash retrieval program specifically, their objective is not to get to the truth or to disclose the truth. Their objective is to obfuscate the truth. So the objective of AARO, again, not by the individual researchers at AARO, but by their parent organization, so to speak, the Pentagon, is to discourage, is to deflate Congress's enthusiasm or interest in the UFO topic and to discourage any further inquiry, especially in regard to crash retrieval programs. That is the purpose of AARO. It's not to get to the bottom of the truth, as I said. Setting aside the personal motivations of the researchers at AARO, the organization was not founded to discover the truth, but to obfuscate the truth, just like all of the other official government UFO research programs. So we should not be surprised that AARO is coming out and saying, oh, there's nothing to see here. It's all prosaic. I forgot off the top of my head here. I can't believe it. The guy's name has gone down a memory hole in my brain, but the former director of AARO.
Yep. I know who you're talking about. Yep, exactly.
Yeah, I can't believe I can never remember his name anymore. But anyway, he came out and he resigned his post, and he came out and just blasted the UFO community. Yep. And basically said it's a bunch of religious nuts, like UFO religion. It's like a UFO religion and a bunch of fanatical nuts who are propagating this fantasy of crash retrieval programs, anything like that, which is of course is of course incredibly disingenuous and offensive to the UFO community, and specifically to the decades of good ufological research that in my estimation unequivocally proves that these guys are lying. The Pentagon is lying through their teeth about the reality of the phenomenon, the nature of the phenomenon, and the actionable portions of the phenomenon, those being the crash retrieval programs and reverse engineering of the craft. So yeah, I've been interfacing with some of the congressional members, and I'm very, very encouraged by these guys. They're intelligent, they're inquisitive, and they're tenacious.
Do you think that, in the sense of looking to, let's say, the next 5 years as an example, people talk about disclosure and different things, but regardless of that, do you see this? You have them. We're hoping in them a little bit that in their tenacity they're going to get something. But is there kind of do you see it going back a little bit with the latest AARO dismissal of, again, the outgoing guy. I remember watching him. He was kind of temperate while he was in there, but once he left, he kind of came unglued. Do you see it kind of going back? This is the question. Where are we going to get legitimate information about this? Is it going to be through this core group, or is it going to kind of revert back to where ufologists have gone in the past, their own?
We have been getting legitimate information. We have Go Fast, Gimbal, TikTok. Mm-hmm. We have these events, these incidents that are confirmed to be real from the Pentagon. Mm-hmm. They don't come out and say they're aliens or something like that, but they confirm the footage to be real. And by the way, one of the things that AARO could not do during that private briefing with the Congressional, with the UAP caucus, they could not debunk the Tic Tac. Mm-hmm. So the truth is that we have been getting some form of disclosure. It's not direct disclosure, it's a form of indirect disclosure. And I would agree with Richard Dolan's assessment, the UFO historian Richard Dolan, that what we're witnessing is a factional conflict right now inside of the government. You have the secrecy group and you have the disclosure group. And the disclosure group likely does not consist of people who want all the truth to be released to the public, because we need to maintain some secrets, because we do have adversaries like China. And so we need to keep our trade secrets, and we need to keep some of the technology we're experimenting with this, out of the hands of the Chinese. That's very important. But so the disclosure group is for some degree of disclosure. I think the disclosure that they want is the disclosure of the alien presence. In other words, we are not alone. And the secrecy group does not want the American people to know anything whatsoever. And there's this conflict. It's a give and take. It's a back and forth. And you see it playing out in the media. And the reason why Grush was able to come forward and survived was because of the secrecy, because of the disclosure group inside of the intelligence community at the Pentagon, who were reinforcing him and backing him up from behind the scenes. And then you have an environment in which Congress is, you have congressmen who are open to the exploration of the phenomenon, mm-hmm. and to find out what the government knows about it. This is unprecedented, right? In regard, there have been other congressional hearings and inquiries, but what's unprecedented is how the phenomenon is viewed at this point. And what's different now than 20 years ago, even 15 years ago or 10 years ago, is UFOs are no longer in the realm of conspiracy theory.
Right.
They're taken seriously by the media. It's no longer a bunch of kooks, tinfoil hat wearing kooks. Ufology is now becoming mainstream. And so most Americans, the vast majority of Americans, believe that UFOs are real, and that the government knows what they are, or at least knows about them, and is covering it up. And so it's a reality now, and the government's attempts to obfuscate it's not going to work on the public. But I'm afraid that there is going to be a chilling effect in Congress. That's why it's so important to support these congressmen in their efforts to pop the lid on disclosure. And again, I'll reiterate, this core group of people happen to be Christians.
Yeah.
So that's very interesting, isn't it? Mm-hmm. And I think it seems to be, to me, after talking with these guys, it seems to be providential.
Would you say that? Do you think that based on the politics of who's in the majority, if the Democrats, got majority of the House, would that change their ability to pursue things?
No, the Democrats, there's plenty of Democrats who are just as interested as Republicans in disclosure. So it's not really a party thing.
Okay.
In fact, some of the worst offenders, some of the guys who are carrying water constantly for the intelligence community are Republicans. Mm. And, again, I'm not a big fan of Chuck Schumer, but Chuck Schumer is much more interested in disclosure than
McConnell.
again, some prominent Republican, um, some prominent Republican congressmen, such as Mike Turner. And Mike Turner is actively trying to oust Congressman Burchett from his seat, specifically because Burchett is pressing on the UFO issue. So here you have a sitting Congressman, Mike Turner, attempting to overthrow, to install someone else in Burchett's place, Tim Burchett's seat, because Tim Burchett is daring to continue to pursue disclosure. And so that's a Republican conflict. And so again, it's important to understand that this is not a partisan issue. There's just as much interest on the Democratic side, I would say. Maybe not just as much, but there's certainly interest on the Democratic side for sure, although the core group is majority Republican.